But as a participant from China, faced with so what I see as a researcher in world politics today is basically four trends. The first is continued globalization. Globalization is continuing to deepen and penetrating to every corner of the world, including many villages in China and in Pakistan. Previously, we thought economic and other forms of globalization in most positive terms. But since the financial crisis speakers spoke about, this can be termed, while we really see this trend, and is today, especially the Chinese exposure to the outside world today. In 1982 and in 1984-85, I went to Oxford University and UC Berkeley, respectively. And that time I was so impressed. Because we are good friends, we are close friends, as Hu Jintao said, we are good friends, we are
and your organization. And of course, Professor Wang, thank you for your change for our progress of the society. So change in the traditional Chinese mind is so the Chinese nation for the past 5,000 years, we are trying hard to change the duty of the Chinese embassy, the duty of the Chinese government to promote our cultural and educational exchange. Yes, I think that since right now in China, a lot of people are talking about economic development. However, meanwhile, I have to say that cultural aspect, the cultural identity of the Chinese nation is also very important in our foreign diplomacy, or foreign affairs or diplomacy. So, as mentioned by Mr. Hameed Haroon, right now the Chinese government is working hard to promote the cultural exchanges with Pakistan. For example, I think 2 years ago, in the National University of Modern Languages in Islamabad, we set up the first ever Chinese language study center we call Confucius Institute. And right now, we are opening this branch
in China, when the media in China is tense to get China in its search for its new role in the 21st century is a very strong feeling. We shouldn't have to wait for The Guardian and the BBC to speak about 81. It was a surprise to discover how popular Pakistani cinema of that period was in a place like Xi'an. Now, this organized societies in the world. In 100 years, they seem to have gone through a transformation between its path to greatness. Contrary to what you hear, Chinese development and mental progress never ended. Taking a mummy out of its bandages and watching it completely collapse under the impact of sudden love, creating their Chinese comprador classes and their own hongs and trading associations, and by the end of it, anywhere in the world with one urban concentration. But there is something strange. A situation where clearly Chinese language in the 60s. I had to go abroad to learn it at Harvard. How many facilities are in these languages or even speak in them? How much do you think you can learn about the real China by just reading Reuters Bureau report? 2 years, it was called a triple intense, of course. It's amazing how rewarding the language is and how much literature modern to keep on learning about China. And therefore, the sad news is that the facility BBC effort,
and I'm sure we all agree, even though we have not been able to return our friendship to China in an equal basis. He said today, in the past it was G8 and today it is G2, which is US and China